Hi, good evening all. How are we doing today?
Doing good.
Good evening.
Good evening. I think there's only 3 of us here and there's supposed to be 10. So we're going to give your colleagues about 5 minutes and then we'll start since it's the first class. Okay, is that okay with everybody?
Yes, Mom.
Okay, great, great. So in the meantime, I sent an email with a welcome note and some attachments. Did you have the opportunity to look at the attachments as yet?
I did, but I didn't read the speech, but I saw it.
Okay, well, that's Lanique, you know, you have an opportunity to get your participation points right up front, so that's fine. You could start to look at it if you would like, but we will read the speech in detail in today's class.
Okay.
Okay, great. Any questions from the agenda?
I see something about a mentoring program. You have to mentor somebody?
Yes, ma'am. This is a supervisory skills class. And we want to ensure that before we promote you to supervisor, you know, how to treat people, how to talk to people, you know, have somebody's point of view, get some feedback on how you are as a supervisor, and then hopefully we promote you into that position. How that sound? That sound reasonable? Or are you already a supervisor?
Well, ironically, I just signed, you know, we have something called cross training, and I'm actually cross training as a supervisor for my department at work. I just signed like 2 weeks ago.
Oh, excellent,
So,
excellent. So
this class
in the
come
right
right time.
Right. So, you know, there's some negative, there's a negative stigma out there about supervisors, and you know, a lot of y'all supervisors, people going home, they ready to commit suicide, they hate their job. Corporate Bahamas is awful, right?
It had, Miss Fuller, like I didn't know. Okay, I was unprepared dealing with people. Like I didn't realize how close you had to deal, but you have to manage people, honestly. And I didn't realize that's what this was about.
Right. What
So
do you mean, the class or the position?
Pardon? No, I mean the position at work.
Oh,
so hopefully yes, this class will give me clarity, because I have in trouble now separating, because all of us was pairs, quote unquote, like we was on the same level and we cool. And now they're trying to get me to understand that I have to like separate myself, because I have a job to do in reference to what the job, you know, what they expect me to do as supervisor, but then these my friends, you know what I mean?
Right. Right. And Lanique, you sound like Miss Bullet 20 years ago, or maybe 30 years ago, when I was on the teller lineup, and there were 10 tellers, and I got promoted to teller supervisor. And let me tell you, Lanique, that was the worst time of my entire career. Even now today, I can still say that that's the worst transition that I've ever gone through in my entire life. Okay, because like you say, all of us were friends. We used to hang out on the weekends. We used to drive to work together. We left work together. We did everything together. And all of a sudden I was like the outcast, and none of my friends now felt that I was qualified to be their supervisor.
Right.
And it was eternal hell. Okay, but that shaped the rest of my career. Okay, and I learned a lot. And so hopefully this class will give you some insight. You know, Miss Bullet, I have 1,000 stories, and I'll help you get through it at the beginning. So, you know, I didn't have a lot of awareness back then, and people wasn't so open, you know, with giving you good direction. It was a sink or swim type of situation.
You know, that's just what happening now. And I feel like they put me there to clean up stuff with my supervisor wasn't expected to.
Exactly. They want you to be, because a lot of people don't like conflict. And so they using you to do what, you know, and then behind closed doors, they'll say, well, you're ineffective because you can't manage these people. But I can tell you that supervisors and managers get paid more because it is so much more difficult to deal with people. It's unbelievable. Okay, so like I said, we'll get into definitely into detail, but you're in the right place, and like I say, I teach, you know, from experience, but you will be fine. You'll be fine. You'll be fine. Yeah, even the lady that I used to drive home, because we still giving it 606, but we still have 1, 2, 3. Yeah, we still need at least, but it's being recorded, but I really don't want to start without, so let's give them, this is the first class, so let's give them a few more moments and hopefully they'll join. Clinton, DCS, and Natalie, I hope you all don't mind, but you all get used to Miss Bullet. If you all don't know me already, I'll do an introduction as soon as the rest of the class is here. So been just giving everybody 5 minutes. But Lanique, the lady that I used to drive home with every day, or like we carpooled. In fact, she was pregnant the same time I was pregnant, and so we call our daughters twins. When I became a supervisor, she gave me the hardest time in the world. And in fact, it got so bad that I had to write letters and letters to head office to keep my job because she was determined to get me fired because I was her friend and I could not be a supervisor. Yeah. Yeah, it's a lot of craziness. But you're strong and you're on the right track and you can do it. So don't be wary. Don't be
I
wary.
just thought I only was doing it 3 weeks and I feel like there's a lot. Like,
yeah, it's a lot. And guess what? Back in my day, they gave me $25 more. I don't know. I don't know if anything changed from there.
I don't even know. I don't even know what it is. It's like what the increase would be, but it's still whatever it is, it don't feel like it'll be enough.
It already you worded right. Yeah, they gave me $25 more to take on heartache and headache and pain. But again, that was just the beginning. And I'm happy now that I had those experiences because I learned from all of them. And as I went up the corporate ladder, I learned how to deal with different people and the different personalities and to raise above the personalities. And today we're going to talk about personalities as well. Okay? Okay, good. Okay, guys. Welcome to Supervisory Skills. I was trying to give persons some time, but of course it's being recorded. So hopefully, if they miss anything, you can contact Miguel for the recording. But I'm Miss Bullard. I've been with the Institute for the past 6 years. I've taught this class for the past 6 years, supervisory skills, as well as customer service and marketing, primarily on a daily basis. I also teach the anti-money laundering and compliance program. And so supervisory skills and customer service normally comes around once a year, but I have at least 12 classes per year, a class per month in anti-money laundering and compliance. And so the majority of my career was spent at Royal Bank of Canada, 16 plus years. And so Ms. Bullet has a lot of stories all about Royal Bank of Canada. Now they've drastically changed in the last couple of years, but I am still proud, in the Canadian trading is very sound, and I attribute most of my success to Royal Bank. Yeah, in terms of my introduction, that's it. I don't know if anybody has any questions in terms of who Ms. Bullet is and what I do. Any questions? No? Okay. So this class is discussion based, right? And so I say this in all of my classes, and like some of you may have been in a class with me before, and so you're familiar. But discussion based means that we want you to, all of you should have a book. All of you have a book? Is there anybody that does not have the book?
I don't have the book.
Okay, so please visit Miss Dean and get the book from the office, okay? Because
Okay.
it's very important. It's very important. And normally the books at the Institute are not very good books, but this book is an excellent book. It has loads of good information. So I definitely will teach almost every page out of this book. So
Okay.
it's very important that you get it. And it gives, like I say, a lot of scenarios, a lot of real life scenarios. So it really helps. Um, we need you to comprehend. So it's discussion based, and we need you to think critically. So there's an agenda, and on the agenda, it outlines, it isn't written in stone, but it gives us a good guide of what we will be covering each week. And what I plan to do is assign a chapter to each person, because the only way you become good at anything is if you practice. And so hopefully in this class, each of us will get the opportunity to practice supervising the class. And so by the end of the class, we should have, a lot of people have stage fright. A lot of people have trouble with public speaking, and all of that will help in your training, if you practice with the class. So hopefully, by the end of the class, we can have you on the theory side and some practical side fully developed as a supervisor, and ready to, get to the next step. Or if you're already a supervisor, hopefully it'll, enhance what you already know. So we're going to practice. Um, in terms of the agenda, let's look at the agenda, and I'm going to share the screen. Please let me know if you can see the screen. Okay, 1 second. Can everybody see the screen?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so this is the agenda. And of course, I hope that you would have had some time to just peruse it. Um, the class is from September 14 until December 14. It's 14 weeks. The midterm is proposed to be on October the 26th. Normally, your institution would give you study time, so you could plan ahead, and then the final exam is on December the 14th. So you have those dates up front. Please go into your HR and find out if you have a study leave benefit, and then ask for those days off. Um, this is the course description. It's to assist employees in making the transition from worker or entry level person to supervisor, to identify key elements necessary to become an effective supervisor, to help employees deal with change, conflict, and labor relations, to discuss the importance of appraising employees' performance, using training, coaching, mentoring, learning opportunities, and discipline to develop competent employees, and to encourage participants to continuously learn and upgrade themselves. And like I said, it's discussion based, because we want you to think critically. We want you to read the chapters each week and come ready to discuss. Now, if any of you have been in Miss Bullet class, I say that all the time. Nobody ever listens to Miss Bullet. Nobody ever reads. Everybody overwhelmed and overworked. And it is very difficult to go to school and work full time. It's extremely difficult. Okay. And so I always ask persons to speak to your families and ask them to support you during this time that you are in school, and work along with you to, give you some extra time to organize yourself, to be able to study, to be able to just pay attention in class, to do your homework, and then to unwind. Because going from stress to stress, going from work stress then to school stress, it's difficult to retain any of the information. Okay, and this is a very interactive class. So Lanique is used to Miss Bullet saying, you better read, and I always give a very detailed um, overview. And so, most of the times persons just look forward to that. But in this class, you are the supervisor, we're training you. And so each of you are going to have a chapter where you will discuss the key concepts from each chapter. But as we go through and hopefully more persons join, we'll get more into detail. Any questions so far about the course description? No, if you all stay quiet and you give Ms. Bullet feedback.
Can you explain some more on the mentoring of others, the 6 weeks of mentoring?
Yeah, so we have a whole, okay, so let me go through the agenda and then we'll go to that. And then, yeah, we'll get to that next, okay? Just so you see, the grading criteria is for BIF's policy is, the passing mark for this class is 65%. Okay, and to get an A, it's between 90 and 100. A B is 80 to 89. 65 to 79 is a C. Anything below 65 is a fail, and you will have to retake the class. If there are 2 papers due, one is a mentoring project, the other is a paper based on what we are going to read tonight. If those 2 papers are not handed, then you get an incomplete. So there's no way to pass the class without completing those papers. Okay. The book is Supervision. Today, Miss Bullet has the 6th edition. Apparently, the office has upgraded to the 8th edition. So I just got my copy of that. So please make sure you get that from the office. This is how the grades will be determined. The final exam is 60%. Interim quizzes and the midterm is 20%. The project that I just spoke of is 10%, and participation is 10%. And again, persons normally say, oh, I don't have to participate, it's only 10%. Again, this is an interactive class. If there's no participation, you get an incomplete, as well as you don't get your 10%. Okay, so please work with Ms. Bullet to ensure that, you know, we are all successful in the class. Now, again, this agenda is not written in stone. Today, we'll just go through the expectations, the project, the speech, and then next week we will start with chapter 1 and 9. And we used to go through chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3. However, what we determine is that some of the chapters are similar or relevant to each other. And so in order for testing, you know, to flow properly, we mix the chapters up, and we still cover the majority of the book. Okay. On Wednesday, October the 12th, this is when the speech is due. You also see chapter 9 in there, but that's just a, you know, in case we don't finish chapter 9 in week 2, because chapter 9 is fairly long, then we will catch up. So that's why you would see that there again. On October 19th, we will have review of the first 6 chapters, which the midterm will cover. And then we'll have the midterm, which will be in person at BIF. So you go in and Miss Dean will be expecting you, and you will write your midterm on October 26th, which is week 7, which is halfway through the class. Then we go down to your mentoring presentation, which is due on November 30th. Again, you will present that to the class. And each time on October the 12th, as well as November the 30th, when you are present, doing your presentation to the class, your video must be on, okay? And so well in advance, you'll be prepared. And like I said, each person is going to be assigned a chapter. When you assign a chapter, the video also has to be on. Okay, so that's 3 times. Ms. Bullet don't even like the video, so I totally understand how you feel. But if we find that, you know, we're not getting feedback and we're not getting participation, then the videos will have to be on every class. Okay, because that's the only way we can, you know, enforce participation. Okay, so if we get good feedback and persons are participating, there's only 3 times, if you're not comfortable with your video being on, that the video has to be on. Am I saying the right thing? The video? Is it the camera? Ms. Polito, you'll have to excuse me, it's the camera. Okay, and then we'll have review on December 6th, and then the final exam on December the 30th. Okay, so again, like I said, in advance, if your office does give you a benefit of study leave, please, put in those dates before vacations are backed up. Okay, now on to the next question. In terms of the projects and the presentations, there's a commencement speech that's attached. We are going to read that today. Each person is going to give us some feedback on what their takeaway from the commencement speech is. From 1 to 10, it's just some ideas in case, because it's the first class and it's fairly new and your thinking caps may not kick in right away. And so we may use those topics, but again, we hope to get good feedback from each person based on the commencement speech. And if persons want to get this 5% for participation right up front, you volunteer to read, okay? So after we would have read and we would have pulled questions from the commencement speech, there is a 300 to 500 word essay on discussing what requirements to become a future leader are and answering one of the questions below. But again, these questions are just sample questions. We can make up our own questions. And again, like I said, it'll be based on the discussion that we have. Okay, and that is due the Tuesday before the class. And again, you will present with your camera on to the class on Wednesday, October the 12th. Is that clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, any questions? No questions? Okay, so we'll send by email that Tuesday. We will present on that Wednesday. Okay, and so because we are becoming new supervisors and we realize how toxic corporate Bahamas is, persons are not, we really feel that there should be a standard training at home, but it doesn't seem like person coming from home with the right training or the right ethics. And so therefore we want to ensure that before we entrust 10 persons under your tutelage for you to supervise and you make their life hell and you make them suicidal, we want you to practice mentoring somebody and to ensure that it's a two-way street, something that you are passionate about. Now, currently in corporate Bahamas, we are being promoted because we've been there the longest, or we went to the class, we went to school and we take one class and we do very well, and so we're not being promoted because we have the correct personality traits or the correct competencies to be able to deal with people. We are being promoted because this is the position is available, and in most cases nobody else wants to be a people manager and you next in line, and we're supposed to do something all the time, so it's you, right? And you don't have the proper skills to be able to deal with people, okay? And so you push into this position and then you face all these personalities and your life becomes hell. You become suicidal because you need this job to pay your mortgage and pay your children's school fees, but you really don't want to do it, okay? And so hopefully this class will help you identify whether or not you're more suitable on the front line, in back office, or to be a people's manager. And hopefully, we don't live in perfect. Our dream job or our dream position doesn't always become available, but at least we will know the type of personality we have, and we would know that we don't have the skills to deal with people, and the next non-people manager or background office position that becomes available, we will go there, right? And so there are key ingredients to mentoring. There are 6, I think, listed here. Yes, 6. And what the expectation is that for the next or over a 6-week period, you will find somebody at work, at church, in a civic organization or a family member that you can mentor, and you will share, you will try to teach them something. You'll try to encourage a good behavior, or just, the fact a lot of our young youths, they don't have anybody to give them good counsel. Okay, so hopefully over the next couple of weeks, you will find somebody, identify a person, and then think about whether you want to train a new skill. Maybe you want to share some knowledge with them. Maybe you want to encourage them to go to church, or encourage them to join a civic organization, or encourage them to go back to school, or whatever it is, you want to mentor them. And so there are 6, like I said. You want to distinguish what your purpose is. This is a young lady. In fact, let me just give you some examples. In the last class, last semester, there was a lady who she's an executive now at the bank, and she said, she had a first degree, but she's never did a supervisory skills class, and she came and she did supervisory skills just as upgrading. And she said she was actually a victim of teenage pregnancy. And so she went to, there's a school for teenage girls, and she went there and she just went to the administration, and she asked the administration, told the administration that she was a girl who was pregnant in her teens, and she dropped out of school. And, she later on, she had an aunt that encouraged her, after she had the baby, and told her that, go back to school, try to get your degree, we'll help you. And she said, because of her aunt getting her on the right track, she is now an executive in one of these Fortune 500 banks in the Bahamas. So she went to the school for pregnant girls, and she told the administration they selected a girl, and she spent the 6 weeks with the young lady, encouraging the young lady that, after school, after you have the baby, please go back to school. You can still go to college. These are how you can get into college for free. This is what is available to you, and so on and so forth. And she wrote a paper based on that. Okay. Another guy in the class, he said, they grew up in the ghetto, and now they live, in Carmichael. And so his Grammy still lives there, and he frequents where they grew up. And, a lot of the little young boys sitting on the blocks, smoking dope and what have you. And so he selected, one of his peers, somebody who graduated from high school with him, had, again, had the baby very young and had a young boy, and now he was just hanging on the block. So he, mentored him and tried to encourage him to, he helped him with homework. He took him to, there was no father figure. So he took him like to a baseball game, took him to church, and, different stuff like that. Okay, so it's just how deep you want to get into it. I don't want to overwhelm you, but it is like an active service. It is, we believe in each one reach one, and you will find somebody somebody should be mentoring you, and then you should be mentoring somebody. Okay, so what are your thoughts? Give me some feedback. You'll feel overwhelmed. Let me know. Talk back to Ms. Bullard.
I don't think it's overwhelming. I think you can, I guess, decide what assignment wouldn't be as overwhelming for you. Like, for example, I have family members who are younger than me, like my little cousins, who I could possibly mentor. but then I think that would be too much. So I'll probably pick some like I tell you, because I have a team at work, and one of them she's very new in the department. Well, two of them is very new. So like the baby, we call her, I could probably mentor her in how to deal with the department and how it's busy and stuff like that. So, but I already encouraged my whole team to go to school. So all us was in your compliance class, Miss Bullet.
Oh, okay, very good, excellent.
So, yeah, I think it's just, I guess you have to be careful on what assignment you pick, because some could be very, very, like you say, involved, and it could get overwhelming, or you could pick someone that's not, requires too much.
Right. And so again, only about 2 hours per week, I expect you to spend with this person. You don't have to always see them in person, but I would hope at least 2 weeks out of the 6 weeks you can see them in person, and perhaps spend some quality time with them. Okay. But the key is just to practice, to let them give you some feedback on whether you are approachable, whether you can handle agreeing to disagree, or is it your way or the highway? Can you have difficult conversations? Can you explain to somebody compassionately that something is wrong? Are you empathetic? Stuff like that. So you want to practice, and you really want to get that person to give you some feedback. Like, did you feel that I was understanding, even though that we didn't agree, or we have a difference of opinion? Do we have to hate each other now because we don't agree? So there are a lot of life commonalities that happen when, or some differences, a lot of differences that happen, when you don't agree with somebody. And so again, we just want to, get some practice and walk away with the experience, and hopefully the same way we treat that person who I would hope that we care about or we are passionate about is the same way we go back to work and we handle our peers or the persons that we supervise. Okay?
Okay.
Okay, great. Okay, very good. Okay, so what we'll do, because y'all are so quiet and we got to break the ice, we got introduce, everybody can introduce ourselves, because we're going to spend 14 weeks together. And so at the end of these 14 weeks, we hope that all of you are in our network, that we could, leverage off each other's knowledge, that we are colleagues. Okay, and so please just introduce yourself and tell us, where you're at in terms of, are you entry level? Are you supervisor? And for how long, if you are supervisor? And your expectation of the class, and then something about your personality. So for those of you, I think there might have been one more person that would have joined. I mentioned that I am Miss Bullard, and the majority of my career was spent with Royal Bank. My background is compliance and operations and audit. I worked in offshore for the majority of my career. I was, I think, 8 years on retail side, and the last 10 years with Royal Bank was spent as the manager of business support and operations at Royal Bank Trust in Life of Key, Wealth Management. I would describe my personality as flexible, honest, I'm optimistic, I'm versatile, and I'm a little bit strict. Okay, and so that's the expectation. You don't have to say where you work if you're not comfortable, but just tell us something about yourself and something about your personality. Okay, so Lanique is most comfortable. I know it's a little bit intimidating for the first time, but like I say, at the end, we gotta be cool, we can be colleagues, we can look out for one another, and that will come in a couple of weeks. So Lanique used to Miss Bullet. So Lanique, you start for us and introduce yourself.
Okay. My name is Lanique Bethel. I work at Commonwealth Bank as an accounts officer. I onboard customers to our bank and deal with their accounts, different deposit accounts and stuff like that. And I was telling Ms. Bullet earlier, I recently started cross-training as a supervisor. So for the next 3 months until November 3rd, I think, I'll be the supervisor, acting supervisor of that department at the Plaza branch. So, something that you say one word to describe my personality?
Yeah, one or two. Or three.
I'm not
Introvert?
shy.
Introvert
no.
or extrovert?
No, I'm not an introvert. I'm an
Okay.
extrovert.
Okay.
But I second guess myself a lot. I didn't think I was going to be back to school, but here I am. I didn't think I could do it because I have 2 kids who are small, but thanks to Miss Bullet, and Miss Bullet is my teacher for my other classes. So she gave me support so that I could go and talk to my family. And so now my family assists me in keeping the kids while I do my homework and I'm in class. So, and that was a big help. So,
Excellent.
yeah, so I'm an extrovert, and I guess I am a little shy too, because I still don't believe in myself all the way, but I get in there.
Okay, good. By the end of this class, you will be extremely confident. Right. Very good. And please, a lot of things that I found in life are very remedial. And so we do not do it, or we don't think about it, but that getting help, I'm telling you, that makes so much of a difference. Because a lot of times, we in this online world, we cooking, trying to listen to Miss Bullet, we cleaning the house, a baby sitting on our lap. Okay. Like I say, you already worn out from just rushing from work to get to this class. Now to deal with life, it's very difficult. So, when I was in school and I had to work, I had a little niece. She was 12 years old. And back in those days, you could give her $5 and $10 to help you with the kids, right? So get those little nieces and nephews who is cheap labor, who you could buy McDonald's for, send them minutes, and get them to help the children do homework, or get them to help you cook. Just get help. So, like I said, you will have some uninterrupted time, and that you'll have some time to unwind. Okay, it really makes a difference. All right. Okay, good. Very good, Lanique. Thank you for sharing. Candace Scott. Is Candace there?
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Yes, ma'am. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. Loud and clear.
Okay, I am pardon?
No, we're getting feedback from somewhere. I don't know. Let me mute my mic. So see if that'll help. Go ahead. Somewhere. I don't know. Let me mute my mic. So see if that'll help. Go ahead.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. My name is Candace. I am currently a loan officer at Fidelity Bank here on the island of Abaco. About my personality, I think I have a great personality. I am outspoken when I need to be. Sometimes I think of myself as shy. Other persons say that I am not. One of the expectations that I hope to get from this class is to get out of the shell that I seem to put myself in sometimes, because I know I can do it, and I know that I can be that person to motivate others and stuff like that, but I still feel not confident at times. But that's me.
Miss Bullet, your mic muted.
Miss Bullet, your mic is still mute.
Okay, yeah, y'all see Miss Bullet talking, right? Like, we can't hear her. Okay, good. Yeah, so Candace, thank you for sharing. The key is to practice. And I think it was Bruce Lipton who said, when we were 15 and 16, we didn't know how to drive a car, but we were so determined because we didn't want our parents dropping us and picking us up. So every opportunity we had to reverse the car out the yard, we would take, or if somebody said move the car, we would jump and go and move the car. And then we ran behind our parents, please teach us how to drive, teach us how to drive. And most of us by 18 had a driver's license and knew how to drive, okay? And now today, most of us 20s, 30s, 40s, we are expert drivers, correct? Because we would have driven now for the last 5 or 10 years. And that's the same thing. If you don't feel confident, you have to practice things that make you feel confident. You gotta tell the little man in your head, you gotta be more optimistic, or you have to tell yourself, yes, you can do it, power in the tongue. Keep yourself encouraged, or perhaps I had a big problem with public speaking. So I had to join Toastmasters, and I used to be afraid every single time. But the more I practice, and the more we did the table talks and stuff like that, it just, I just didn't care anymore. And then I became a supervisor. And so I couldn't say I'm timid and I'm afraid of talking. And even today, I still make mistakes. And when I make mistakes, I say, okay, I'm human, forgive me. And I start over, so practice is the key, for both of you ladies, and you'll be fine. Okay, very, very good. Clinton, is it Nazma or Naima?
Thank you.
Yes, it's Nazma. Okay. I had your class before, Ms. Bullard, customer service and marketing.
Okay. I thought that the name was familiar.
Words that can describe me, I would say introverted and yet stern. At least my children would say I'm stern. What I look forward to getting out of this class is a little more skills when it comes to mentoring and supervising persons. I currently work at Doctor's Hospital as an admin assistant, but I've been in banking previously. I look forward to getting back to banking. So any skills or any new skills I can learn is always welcome.
Okay, so very, very good, Nazma, and welcome back, and we're happy to have you. And like I said, by the end of this class, you will be there. So no worries. Okay, Robert, and I'm always very happy to see the men in the class, because I normally have a class full of women. So the men, when we go south, we talk too much, they reel us back in. So Robert, happy to have you. You want to introduce yourself?
Yes, ma'am. Good day. My name is Robert Martin. I'm a personal banking officer at Scotia Bank Limited. So the reason I would have taken this class is because I previously just got that position, I would say in June, and it's actually supervisory level. So I just want to enhance my skills in regards to being able to assist, or if the time may come when I have to actually step in place of the supervisor, I'm able to just give good advice and just be able to do what needs to be done. I would say something about myself. I'm a really loquacious person.
Now, Robert, don't do this to Miss Bullet. What would that mean? What say it again?
I'm really talkative.
Okay, but say the word, just Miss Bullet, very talkative too, and Miss Bullet tied down. What's the word?
Loquacious.
No, go ahead then. I can't even spell that. Okay, very good. Very impressive word, Robert. I sure you got all our attention. Anybody else know that word, or it's just Miss Bullet? Who don't know?
I never heard that word before.
Go on then, Robert.
Yeah, I know it.
Okay,
Loquacious,
Lanique, it's just me and
heard it
you.
before.
I gotta Google that right now.
Go ahead. Thank you for that new word.
Loquacious. Loquacious.
Loquacious.
Yeah.
Okay, very good, Robert. Okay, so very talkative, good. Well, Miss Bullet, very talkative. Y'all, it's
But
up. You
only,
love that. Shut me
yes,
up.
but it's
You know?
only, I only tend to be talkative when I am comfortable around persons. Now, if I don't know anyone, or if I haven't gotten comfortable as yet, then I wouldn't speak as much. But
With
once I'm
Robert,
comfortable, I tend to be very loquacious.
Robert, we can be family by the end of the day. It's 14 weeks. Don't worry about it. We can be family. So you good. Okay. Very good. I am excited already. Sydney?
Good evening, everybody. My name is Sydney Decius. I'm also at Scotiabank. I've been there about 5 years. I'm a customer service officer. However, I am cross training in the role of the teleservice officer. I'd say personally, I'm very timid. However, I could say that I'm also stern when need be. And being one of the younger ones in the bank and having to, take on a supervisory role when you're supervising persons who are, in a sense, older than you, per se, really wanted to use this class as an opportunity to, know how to be able to toggle between when I have to be more assertive to persons older, because you don't want to come off as rude, even though it's not rude when you're doing your job. However, being able to, make it seem as though you're not too pushy or too, like you're overstepping. And so this class, I feel like would be a good opportunity for me to, just learn more skills in the role and be able to, effectively lead a team.
Okay. Okay, Sydney, but very good. And we hope that we're able to help you lead that team effectively. And, again, like I say, like I told Lanique, Miss Bullet has 1,000 stories. I've been called rude, aggressive. I do young to have this position, and I had a lot of, older persons who were valuable, who were historians. And then I had someone just was clogging up the system, and so we don't live in perfect. And what I realized is that I think we have too much of a high expectation of human beings. And that's just a personal opinion. And so over my career, when I tried to decipher, well, why these people is act this way or what's going on? We don't live in perfect. When you manage a team, you will have high, medium, and low employees. And you, as a supervisor, you have to treat them all the same to the best of your ability. You can't be biased. You can't have favorites, or you will have a favorite, but you can't show that you have to try to be as balanced as possible. Okay. And you sound on a little bit like this, but then I'm very happy to hear so many, um Clinton said she is stern. Now Sydney is saying he is stern. So very good, because your Grammy must erase your young people normally don't say they stern, and a lot of the standards that was written in stone back in the day has gone out the window. So very good to hear y'all saying that y'all are stern, but hopefully compassionate with it. And like I said, with me, I find that people either love me or they hate me. There's no in between. Okay, and it just depends on who you get the story from, who tells the story that day. Because one day you will hear from Miss Bullet in the garbage, and the next day Miss Bullet is great and she is this and what have you. So you will never please them all. Okay, and so as we, like I say, as we go to the class, we'll learn a lot of tips to help us deal with the affliction that we will encounter every day. Okay, just as long as you're alive, there'll be somebody to afflict you. So we'll get through that. So welcome, Sydney. Okay, Vernique Adderley.
Hi, good day, everyone. My
Good
name
day.
is Vanique. My name is Denise Adderley. I am a legal professor at Commonwealth Bank. I would describe myself as kind. To some persons, I may appear to be quiet. My expectation of this class, I guess I just want to get an understanding of how a management team or supervisory team thinks. I was put in a situation recently where the desk that I am on, it doesn't require supervision, even though I have a supervisor. It's a back office job. And somebody came in last week and they sat on my desk because I was cross-trained somewhere else. And by the end of the week, she told me that I was too nice because I allowed other staff members to do things that she normally wouldn't allow them to do. So this class would kind of be perfect for me right now, just to get an understanding of when to be stern and when not to be stern. I can't hear you. I can't hear you.
Sorry, I mute. You know, Miss Bullet is just be talking and didn't even know. Right. Yeah. So, being kind is very, very important in this big, bad, awful world that we live in. Being kind is very important. And, you know, it's just different management styles. And when we get to chapter 9, you know, it talks about a visionary leader versus an autocratic leader. So hopefully that'll give you some clarity. But whether you mean or kind, people will find a way to beat the system. You know, there's no real way to get around personalities other than to rise above them. Okay, so you take the time to get to know persons, and then you just rise above the negativity and continue on and try your best not to let it affect you. Okay, so always be kind, always be kind, always. Okay. Okay, good, very good. And I think Krista, you would have just gotten the information, and thank you that you made an extra effort to join us. I was just gonna have to send you the video after class, but I'm glad to see that you made it. We are introducing ourselves and you know where we work. If you're comfortable with sharing 1 or 2 tips about our personalities and what we expect to get from the class. Krista?
Hi, good night, everyone.
Good night.
Okay. So Krista DeVos, me. I work to Scotiabank. I am a teller. I've been in the bank for 8 years now. My character, I think I am a dependable person. I'm reliable. I know I could be outgoing. I could also be quiet at times, depending on the situation. But for me, my expectation or what I would want to get more of would basically be an understanding of management styles. I just want to see, I'm very curious as how to merge, because I believe that when it comes to management, there's not a perfect style. So if I believe that a combination of styles would possibly be the best type of manager, who would be able to work out in any environment, a different environment with different personalities. So that's something I'm interested in getting into. And also when it comes to coaching and developing. So that's something that I also would like to get more information on, and also see how best I can use it in my future role, as I'm not a supervisor yet, but it is something that I aspire to be. So okay, good. That's a bit of it.
Okay, very good that you aspire to be it. And hopefully by the end of this class, I hope you still aspire to be it after you find out that it is definitely not a bed of roses. Okay, because managing persons is one of the most difficult, function in any industry, in all industries, managing people. And so people managers tend to get paid more just because you have to deal with those personalities. Okay? Okay, so excellent, guys. And I hope now we see most of the persons working in the bank or have some banking experience. And primarily my career is based in offshore and retail. And so I normally teach, based on my experiences from the bank. So very good. It should be very relevant. Okay, now, Krista, we have already discussed the mentoring program. And so if you missed something, all of this is being recorded. You can contact Miguel, and Miguel can tell you how to retrieve the video so you could catch what you've missed. Or we are now a network, all of us, we could be family by the end of these 14 weeks. We go be in the same network. We are going to support each other. So get to know your classmates. If they're comfortable with sharing their telephone number, get the telephone number, and you all work together. Okay? Okay, very good, very good. Okay, so we've discussed the mentoring. You've had about 5 minutes for it to digest. Any questions before we move on to the speech? No? Okay, then give me some feedback. Sydney, are you excited to mentor somebody? How do you feel about that? Since you're already a supervisor and you have some practice.
Well, for me, I don't think mentoring is hard per se, based on my style. Because even like in the church, I mentor some of the younger kids, so it's not something that's really hard for me to do. It's just sometimes I just want to learn how to approach it, because I may not always have the right approach per se based on someone else's personality. So just being able to kind of read someone and be able to give them advice based on where they're at and meeting them kind of halfway.
Right. Okay. And Sydney, since you spoke on church, an experience that I had, years ago, and it stuck with me for many, many years. My daughter, when she entered primary school, her teacher called me, and her teacher said, it's urgent that I see you. And I said, okay. And, I scheduled a meeting, and just before a meet, I guess she had a meeting with another parent, and that parent was shouting explicits, like ready to fight the teacher. So I was like afraid. And so they had to call security. That parent left. And then it was my turn to go in. I said, Ma'am, are you certain you want me to come in right now? I can come back another day. And she was like, no. But it's, child has the same issue that lady child have. And I just hope that me and you don't end up like that. And I said, Ma'am, why? Like, I teach as well. Like, why would, we end up like that? So she was like, can I hold your hand and pray before we start? And I was thinking, okay, this is strange, but she held my hand and she prayed and she said, basically help me to meet Miss Bullitt where she is at. Help us both to protect the child and do what is best for the child. Help us to be respectful to each other and receptive to the differences. And she just went on in prayer. And even I just felt like whatever it was, and it was something so minor, I was surprised. But I was saying, even if she had told me she needed to expel my child from school, I couldn't fight this woman, because she did just pray so eloquently to the Lord for my child, for me. So when I go to mentor somebody or give advice, especially if it's a difficult conversation, I always start with a prayer. And you sound like you're a believer, so perhaps that's just some advice, and you just say, God, help me to meet this person where they are. I mean, and then you could do that at church, and I guess in the corporate world, sometimes it may not be appropriate because everybody may not be a believer. And in that case, then you could say a prayer to yourself. But that always stuck with me, and that was very effective. And I've used that, especially like I say, when I had to fire people, I asked them, are you open to prayer? Because I want this is gonna be a very bad experience. However, we've done everything in our powers not have to get it to this point, but we have no choice. So yeah, that's a little tip. Okay, so we want, by the show of hands, we want some volunteers right away. And again, remember, there's a 10% for participation. We want some persons to raise their hand. This is about 8 pages. This is going to be, it seems long, but it's very achievable. It's, to me, I find it interesting. Most persons find it beneficial. And if you don't, sometimes you just have to do what you have to do to pass the class if you don't find it beneficial. But I want to give at least 3 of you the opportunity to read this to the class. I guess 2 pages each or 2.5 pages each. And then if we look back at the mentoring sheet, we would have generated some questions based on what we read. But again, just like how you told us about your personality, I want each of you to give some feedback, like out of these 8 pages and what we are going to read on leadership, what is your takeaway and what sticks with you? Okay, and Ms. Bullitt will take some notes and then share with the class afterwards. Okay, so is that clear? First, we need 3 volunteers. Then we need each of you to listen attentively and tell me your takeaway from what is read. That's good? Yay? No? Maybe so?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Okay, good. So I always pick the person who I pick on every single time, the supervisor of the class, because I know her. So I want 3 of you, show of hands. Nobody volunteering, nobody want these 5%. Oh, I was wondering if teachers pet in here. Oh, okay, good. Okay, so we have Clinton, we have Bethel, and we have Adelie. And so Clinton will, 4 people raised their hand. Okay, and Sydney, okay, good. Very good. Impress the teacher right up front. You're right up front. Okay, so good. So each of you, it's 8 pages. So each of you read 2 pages for me, please. And we'll start with Clinton. Go ahead. And once you would have read, you can put your hand down for me, please. So each of you, this in the handout.
How do you put your hand on? Oh, okay.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Okay. Remarks. To the class of 2013 at the 39th commencement ceremony of the College of the Bahamas, Tuesday, June 4th, 2013 at 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. respectively. The venue is Bahamas Faith Ministries International, Carmichael Road. The participants, the Faculty of Social and Educational Studies and Pure and Applied Sciences will attend the 10 a.m. ceremony, and the faculties of Business, Liberal and Fine Arts, and the Institute of Culinary and Hospitality Management will attend the 4 p.m. ceremony. Under the theme, Embracing Education, Exceeding Expectations and Executing Excellence. The occasion, the award ceremony marks an important milestone in the lives of the graduates, as some of them will enter the world of work for the first time. Others will resume their working lives with expectations of advancement, and others will go on to pursue further studies. The presenter is H. Gregory J. Bethel, President of Fidelity Bank Limited. The address. Our graduates today, as the desperately needed future leaders in the Bahamas, you cannot fail in this new role that awaits you. You cannot run away from this responsibility. That is why you are here today. That is why you have invested time and money, made sacrifices, and disciplined yourselves in the pursuit of knowledge at this great institution, the College of the Bahamas. You are the future leaders of the families, businesses, political organizations, government departments, or ministries, professional firms the institutions responsible for the education of our nation, and the Christian church or other religious organizations of the Bahamas. Your nation needs you to live a life of excellence and significance and to function at the highest level of life leadership. I wish to challenge you, the future leaders of the Bahamas, and address two topics which relate to our theme. One, why leaders fall. Two, what matters most in our first life. I chose to challenge you with regard to these two issues because the families, institutions, and communities of our nation are in peril. We need you to rescue them. We need you to embrace leadership, embrace being persons of positive influence, and embrace the task of influencing people to do what they ought to do rather than what they want to do. We will not stop the decline and decay in our families, institutions, and communities unless we have more leaders who are successful in their personal pursuits and are focused on what matters most, rather than the pursuit of popularity, power, possessions, praise, and privilege. Whether you are aware of it or not, you are the leaders of the next generation who must take action to halt this perilous decline, attack the decay, and do all that is necessary to improve the situation. Is this considered the second page or? Ms. Bullitt, is this?
Right, yes, yes, that is the second page. Thank you. So
Okay.
we'll move on to Lanique.
Okay. Please connect the dots. I am compelling you to now focus on leadership and what really matters most in the first life. It is critical that you avoid deception, distractions, delay, and denial. Why leaders fail our nation. There are 7 basic reasons why leaders fail or become ineffective. Failure to be tenacious is in the pursuit of more knowledge, failure to read and research. Isolation or lack of accountability to trustworthy advisors with character, failure to develop a team around them and successors to carry on their legacy in the noble and biblical purposes to which they devote their lives. Failure to adapt and change as situations and people around them change. Arrogance and pride, the spirit that makes one overestimate oneself or herself, underestimate the value of others and become insensitive. Excesses, popularity, power, possessions, pleasure, praise, and privilege. Ignorance of or deviation from and blatant disobedience of the principles, precepts, and commandments in the Holy Scriptures, the Word of God. Failure to dedicate themselves to what matters most in the first life. I appeal to you to live a life of significance and excellence. Be a leader who avoids failure. This is the noble purpose for embracing education, exceeding expectations, and executing excellence. Again, I am calling you to live life at the highest level. Become an effective leader. What matters most in the first life? There are 5 great issues which determine whether or not we live a life of significance or excellence, or waste a life that matters or matters not. A life lived at the highest level, the life of an effective leader. You have to get these 5 things right, or you will have no significant legacy, i.e. people who always live a life of significance and excellence because of your influence, example, involvement, and leadership. The 5 most important issues of life are how much money you have, how you get money, and how you use money. The sooner you have enough money, the sooner you can retire and do what you really want to do without the constraints of a master. I define retirement as a stage in life when you wake up in the morning without the yoke of a master and do what you want to do, when you want to do it, with whom you want to do it, for how long you want to do it, how you want to do it, because you have the money to do it. We all should work hard at an occupation so we can get money, save it, and invest it so we can stop working on someone else's job, in someone else's business or organization, so we can release all of our potential into a pursuit and an endeavor to touch the lives of our people our way. Save and invest more and use your time wisely to do the things that would allow you to retire sooner and achieve your other goals sooner, including the more effective use of your knowledge, money, time, and talents. Time, talent, sorry, natural and supernatural gifts for noble purposes like improving the lives of others as you seek to influence rather than impress.
Okay, Vanique, thank you, Lanique.
This calls for change and a plan, goals, a budget, and a financial advisor to help you keep you accountable and measure your progress, net worth. You must commit time and effort to financial planning. As you set your goals and prepare your monthly budget, consider how you can help others. We live in an era when too many people are self absorbed, self centered, and utterly selfish. Don't go there. When you come face to face with your Creator, do so having lived a significant life of achievement, success, and contribution to the lives of the hopeless and helpless. Dedicate your time and money to noble pursuits greater than yourself and seek to help others with resources, hope, guidance, influence, and useful information. I also have a word of caution. Avoid debt. Debt reduces your options in life, the joy in life, and delays your retirement. Avoid death by debt. Avoid the debt trap. Never borrow money to buy pleasure or possessions which decline in value or popularity, seeking to impress others. Borrow only to buy that which will increase in value or increase your cash flow and ability to save and invest. Example, debt consolidation. Do not let the good marketing skills of any company entice you to spend money on that which is neither important nor urgent. How much knowledge you have. The more knowledge you have, the more money you are able to make and keep. The more knowledge you have, the more good decisions you are likely to make. The more knowledge you have, the better the quality of people you can attract to you. The more knowledge you have, the greater your influence. The more knowledge you have, the more people you can help, and the more opportunities you will have to impact lives in your community. The more knowledge you have, the better equipped you will be to build the lives of your children, your family, and the other people you lead, influence, or mentor. The more knowledge you have, the better positioned you should be to borrow money for noble purposes. Always be in the pursuit of more knowledge. Use your time wisely so you have more time to pursue knowledge from the people who have it. Read relevant books, read the newspapers, local and international, take a course and attend seminars, spend time with people who know more than you do. Watch educational programs on TV rather than junk. Understand what men with power in Asia are doing so you can benefit from their endeavors and not be harmed by them. Visit China and India if you can, because they will rule the planet in short order. The more knowledge you have, the more money you are able to earn or access. Plato once said, wise men
Talk.
fools because they have
No, wise
to
men
say
talk.
something.
Wise men
Wise
talk.
men talk. Wise men talk because they have something profound to say. Fools because they have to say something. Be sure to apply your knowledge and work harder than everyone else. Work smart too. Use your knowledge of technology to be more efficient rather than to attract attention to yourself or for amusement and entertainment. How healthy you are. The healthier you are due to what you eat, how much you exercise, how much you rest, how you use your time, and your sexuality choices, the more energy you have, attractive your appearance.
Go ahead, Sydney. Thank you, Beneath.
More you are able to learn, more you are able to attract to you for noble purposes. The years you live, the more likely you are to retire and finish strong. High energy, good-looking people with good hygiene and a positive attitude make more money. High energy people are more productive, do more good, and have more accomplishments. Healthy people avoid burnout, sicknesses, high medical bills, and premature death. They feel better and don't get depressed for long. Invest time in exercise, recreation, and relaxation. Number 4, who you have relationships with. Who you have relationships with determines how much money you earn and keep, how much you can retire, how you can retire, the value and purpose of your life, the level of your knowledge, the level of your happiness and joy, the content of your character, the level of your success, whether or not you advance on your job, and if and when you have children, the quality of their lives and their future, whether or not you are distracted or deceived, and therefore the achievement of your goals is delayed or derailed, when you die, where you go in the afterlife. It is important to allocate time to build your important relationships. If and when you have children, remember that rules without relationship lead to rebellion. If and when you have children, remember that the relationships formed for the creation, development, and nurturing of children are the most sacred and most challenging in terms of leadership. Get it right for the sake of our nation. Number 5, wisdom and good judgment. Wisdom comes from God. It is the ability to acquire knowledge and use the knowledge to make good and beneficial decisions to benefit others. You can ask God for wisdom if you have a relationship with Him. The level of your wisdom determines the quality of your relationships, the amount of money you earn and keep, how well you use your time, and if you will finish strong and live a life of excellence and significance as an effective leader. Conclusion: you can have a great life, make more money, pursue noble purposes, retire sooner, and live a life of excellence and significance as you achieve the highest level of life leadership if you choose to. None of us are perfect. We all have weaknesses. We all have a lot of work to do to improve our lives. But despite our weaknesses, flaws, and sin, we can resolve today to begin to change and to seek the more excellent way. So I challenge and urge you to embrace education and the pursuit of knowledge, exceed expectations, and execute your work and endeavors with excellence as an outstanding leader in the institutions of our nation, especially our families.
Okay, very good. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Okay, so Sydney, thank you. Since you read last, we want to get what stood out to you in those 8 pages. What out of all of that was your takeaway?
Well, my takeaway was more so towards when we spoke about the relationships. You have basically the people who influence you, the people who you're surrounded by, they affect, the decisions you will ultimately make and how you decide to manage your monies, your time, the things that you do, things that you may decide to do in the future. So the relationships and people we surround ourselves with, they play a big pivotal role in our future.
Right. Were you surprised to see that it said even when you die and whether you go to heaven or not? Would your take is on that?
Well, it is still because, like I said, your influences, you may not be someone who is strong enough to, avoid peer pressure. And so you may fall into doing something that you may not have done if you were in the right crowd. So, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, Stephen, with your 300 to 500 word essay, I want you to focus on leadership and relationships. Okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, good. All right, excellent. Vanique? let us know what stood out to you. Is Vanique there? Okay, we'll come back to Vanique. Lanique?
Yes, I'm
Oh.
here. I'm here. Sorry,
okay.
my current just went out.
Oh, okay. Did you catch the last piece of the reading, or you need to go over it? Okay, we'll give Vanique some time and then we'll come back to her. Lanique?
What stood out to me was the part about number 3, how healthy you are. And he talked about high energy, good looking people with good hygiene and positive attitudes make more money and stuff like that. That stood out to me for real, because I try to be high energy even on the days when I don't feel like it. And I think that that is actually get me through my day a lot better than it would if I just actually, just kind of slump around. And I'm not as productive on those days. And I feel, and too, I was just talking to my coworker about this. When you come to work looking bad, chances are it's gonna pull your whole day down. Like for me, if I decide to really fix my hair and put on my makeup and wear heels, for some reason, I'd feel a little better. As opposed
you
to
get energy. You get energy and you attract that energy.
Right. So I truly believe that. I believe this part right here, where say when your parents and all of that, that really does make a difference, as well as you, because in order for you to work hard, because especially me who working, I working hard trying to get some goals done, you have to take care of your body. Like you have to take care of your vitamins and try not to get burnout. So you have to find a balance to rest and stuff like that. It's important, because you can imagine working this hard and then you're out sick for 2 weeks. And then,
Correct.
It's just, or the same amount of overtime you got to spend it at the hospital. So
Correct.
I really resonate with this part right here. It's all about finding some kind of balance. So it all goes, hand in hand.
Yeah. And later on, when we get to the chapters, I have a little video on burnt out. And burnout is actually a medical condition now that you go to the doctor and you say you're burnout, they give you 3 days off. Okay, so it has been so prevalent that they've now made it a medical condition. So we'll talk about that later.
I on that right now.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And take it.
I'm
Take
also
it.
aware they call that. I say I'm also aware that is they call that fatigue. I know that's what the doctor write on.
Yes. Yeah. And it's very dangerous. And I firmly believe, even though there's hypertension and high blood pressure and diabetes and cancer, the number one killer for me is stress. The number one. Okay. And it accelerates the blood pressure. It accelerates your diabetes. It accelerates your cancer. So please do not take stress lightly. Please. You need an outlet. Okay. Now, Lanique, last question for you. A gentleman in my class said, Miss Bullitt, I believe the high energy people with good hygiene and the positive attitude, but I don't believe good looking people is make more money, because I good looking and I'm making more money, right? And so I said, really? And so he went on the internet. I said, go on the internet and you do some research and you come back and you tell Miss Bullitt what you find. Okay? Do you believe that good looking people make more money?
I believe that, especially in the customer service world. That's how I feel, because people, I don't know what it is, because they used to say banks were stereotypical. They used to say banks only used to hire pretty girls or slim girls or red girls or whatever.
That is, listen, I
think that's true.
I hired more than 200 persons over my career. And Lanique, normally it's the head of operations, the head of HR. There's about 3 or 4 persons that make a decision. And the men always say, If they didn't sit on the interview, let me see how she looked.
Mhm.
And they never came to the interviews, but they always wanted to see how she looked or how that gentleman looked. And that's what they base it on,
Mhm.
how they look. Okay, so trust me, when you go to these interviews, you better be beat down. Okay.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I was gonna say
one-
it ain't too much about natural beauty. You just have to be
no,
well
it
put
is. It's
together.
whether you can fix or not. It's
Right.
whether you can fix. One lady, very qualified, all the experience, but her nail polish was chipped. And do you know, I had to roll on the floor and beg him to hire her. And he said, if she comes in here one day with her nails chipped, she gotta go. She ain't gonna pass probation. And that's all he was. And I mean, every day he was looking at her nails. And I said, we're gonna hire you, and when you come in through the training, you were gonna be on the front desk answering the phone. We need you to look a certain way. You cannot have chipped nail polish. Okay, that's how particular he was.
People are, yeah.
So your and I understand, Clinton, you at Doctor's Hospital. I understand your CEO is like that as well. Clinton, is Clinton there?
Sorry, I'm trying to find my mute. Yes, he is.
Yeah.
Yes.
You have that
Indeed.
chip polish, you going home, or you're getting hired.
Right.
Yeah, they don't care how qualified you are. So, ladies and gents, please mind your fingernails. One guy came in biting his fingernails in the interview. They block him out. They was like, it's no you. We didn't even listen. They cut that interview short. Okay, so please, the smallest minute thing in your parents, first impressions are last thing, so be aware of that. Okay, so Lanique, I wrote you down for high energy, good hygiene, would make more money, and so that's what we want you to do. Huh? Yeah, say on.
Okay.
Okay, good. Crystal.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, so what stood out to you?
Okay. Now, what stood out to me seems actually tired, but I'll try to keep it short. Avoiding debt.
Oh, yep.
The debt trap.
Yep.
Working, yeah, and then also like retirement, the yoke of employment or the yoke of
the master.
A master. Yeah. So basically, I think it's tied together, basically. But for me, working in the bank and seeing so many seniors, struggle with only getting an NIB and still having to take on other debts or the credits that they acquired when they were younger, that is something I see predominantly. And that's something I really feel that if, as a younger people, if they knew financial literacy, what Mr. Bethel was talking about, I believe he spoke to them at this level to try and avoid that in their future.
Yeah, but
So
are we doing that
really,
as loan? Are we doing that as loan officers, Crystal? Or we have a quota to meet, we need to book those loans?
Well, at Scotiabank, we have restrictions, what we cannot do for certain age categories, regardless.
But are we educating the people? Are we educating the people?
Oh, yeah.
Are we saying?
We do, because, with the TDSI, definitely they use that as the guide. But even so, if it's a person who you know that they cannot afford it, or that it's not beneficial to them, that's something that Scotia does. They really teach us, sales principles. I'm not a sales officer, by the way, but they do teach us straight across the board.
Yeah, but are you how to your customers? That's what
definitely.
I'm asking. Are you? Is there a plan? Is there a financial plan?
Every chance I get, I do so as much as possible. But a lot of times, people too far gone.
Yeah, but see that's it. So, and again, as supervisors, this is what we need. We know that the people are too far gone. Are we just saying they too far gone? Are we finding a solution? And that's what supervisors need to do. Okay, we need to find a solution for the people who too far gone. Yes, okay, because the people who too far gone, there's something called generational banking now. they are going to train their children are going to be too far gone, and then their grandchildren. So we have to break that cycle.
And even when they pass away, when they pass away, that debt is acquired onto the next generation.
Right,
So
right. And
definitely
so
is a cycle.
now, right, so we need you to get us sufficient knowledge to how do we fix this, and get together with your team to say, we have to think 10 years down the line, what is going to happen? Nobody could be able to borrow,
Right.
So let's look
Nobody
at
could qualify.
right. Let's look at the pandemic taught us a lot of lessons. So perhaps let's start to have these classes once a month, financial literacy, and then make it mandatory. If you plan to come for a loan within the next 5 years, you have to attend these classes, or something there has to be a solution. Okay, it's just that we need to start to think outside the box. Or let's look like at what's happening in the Netherlands or in Cayman or in other jurisdictions that have, better financial literacy, or with their silver economy, you know what I mean? There are other countries that we can leverage off to get some ideas, but let's not just let it linger and say too far gone, and we can do. Okay. Okay, good. So Krista, you're going to write on debt and the yoke of the master. Okay, very good. Candace?
Hi. I don't have the book to remember everything or to go back as yet, but one of the things that stood out to me was the part where they spoke about knowledge, how much knowledge you have and gaining knowledge, where it talks about how you can watch local and international news, take more courses. You take more courses to become more marketable. Like when you're trying to do job interviews and stuff like that, you gain more knowledge in order to be aware of everything that's going on and to be on point in regards to the corporate world and the world itself. You learn as much as you can. You read books to expand your mind and stuff like that. So, and I like that kind of stuff. So that kind of stood out to me the most out of all of the 8 pages.
Okay, and so this is not in the book. This is the attachment that I sent in the email. And so this is not in the book. This is the attachment that I sent in the email.
Oh, I printed out some stuff, but I don't, for some reason, I don't have that. Right. I printed out some of the stuff you sent, but I don't have that one.
Can you see it on the screen? Look at the screen. Can you see it on the screen?
Yes, ma'am, I can see it.
Okay, good. Okay, Candice, yes, very good. Knowledge is definitely important. Years ago, we started not only, when we did performance reviews, we did professional development. And we would say, did you do any upgrading classes this year? Did you attend any seminars? At minimum, you needed to attend seminars. And then we had a lot of persons, we had a person with their PhD, and we had a person with their MBA. And so we simply said, you can go to seminars. We could understand that, or you could take courses or certificate courses. And so we encouraged that, keeping abreast of what was going on. And Lanique can tell you, as compliance officers, we read the newspaper every day. Okay, so very good. Knowledge is definitely power. Okay, so good, very good, Candice. Okay, Robert. Is Robert there? No, Robert. Okay.
Yes, can you guys hear me? Hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. So I actually don't have the book either, but I know you said that you sent this as a link.
Yes, I sent this in the welcome notes.
Okay, I'll have to review my email, but I don't think I see this link. However, what stood out to me was the portion about how much money you have, because I feel as if, well, everyone works. I feel as if everyone want to gain knowledge, and everyone is working for one main purpose: to have money. Because when you have money, you could do your true purpose. You could actually do your true purpose, such as, I guess, you could retire, and then you could go on to your own endeavors, such as if you want to become a business owner, or if you want to work for yourself, you don't have to rely on a job anymore. You could actually do what you passionate about and what you pursue. And working for someone can be something that you're passionate about. However, you can enhance it and make it your own as well. So I feel as if money, making money and getting money and using your money wisely, it really stood out to me, because that's the main purpose, the main focus of getting certifications and becoming knowledgeable and better off as well. Just to have that financial freedom, because even now, especially in the Bahamas, a lot of persons doesn't have financial freedom. And I've seen a lot of persons come that comes in and out of the bank and is struggling, didn't have the financial support and the knowledge just to know how to become financially better off.
Right. And so definitely, Robert, it seems like you need to be in that team with Krista, who trying to find a solution. You know, how do we fix this? How do we help, especially the silver economy, not to pass it on to their generations? Okay. So very good. So we expect your essay to be on how much money you make and what you do with it. And I always tell all of my classes, you know, one job is only to pay the bill. If you want your children to go to, or pay the bills, if you want your children to go to private school, if you want a nice car, if you want to go on vacation, you need at minimum a second income. And I would recommend 5 revenue streams. Okay. And I always share with persons my revenue streams. I have a fishing boat that I invested in, which I didn't even put money into, but I applied online and they were successful and they got a grant. I have apartments. I'm also a licensed mortician. I have a 9 to 5 and I teach. Okay, so they my 5 revenue streams. And so people say, wow, that's, you know, it's so
Yeah, I
good.
just want to say, wow. I just
barber shop.
you caught my
Yeah. So
attention
you have
now.
to be versatile. Okay.
Yeah,
And like I say, my best investment. Sorry?
Oh no, I'm listening.
Yeah, oh no, I was saying my best investment. I only invested my knowledge and my time. Like I say, no money. We applied to the Small Business Development Center, and the person in agriculture was approved for a grant, and a grant you do not have to pay back. And that provides me the most return out of all my investments. Okay, so it doesn't always have to be money. Sometimes it could be that, but work on your 5 revenue streams so you can get rid of this yoke of the master. Okay. Okay, very good. Okay, good. Vinique, are you ready? I think I would have covered everybody else.
Hi, I'm so sorry. My current cut out when you call my name.
That's fine. I totally understand. I see BPL on my corner and I was like, Lord, not today. Please, not today. So I totally understand.
Yeah, so but what I was going to say before the current cutout was that the part of the speech that stood out the most to me would have been the part that spoke about knowledge. I could relate to that. I feel like knowledge is something, no matter where you go, if you to work, and like that's something that nobody could take from you. That is with you for the rest of your life. Like, yes. Knowledge is power.
Yes, yes. And you're so correct. And I always tell persons, you know, in my department, I had many entry-level persons who just came straight out of high school into the bank. And so Royal Bank offered $3,000 a year in school fees. And I said, listen, go to school, take one course, you know. And one gentleman, his mother had gone to the bank to get a loan for him to do his CPA. She called me on the phone and thanked me. And she said, now I don't have to go to the bank anymore and get loans. And when he graduated, she invited me to his graduation and we celebrated. Another staff member said I was ruining her life. She had just gotten married and she can't go to school because she's trying to be a wife. I said, okay, year 3 or 4, she still couldn't go to school. And every time I put it on her performance appraisal that she wouldn't even attend the seminar, she didn't talk to me for months. She said, I'm trying to take away a bonus. And when Royal Bank Trust was shutting down, everybody who was in school, as a part of our package, they paid the school fee in full. We had persons doing an MBA program, they paid it in full. They had persons doing their bachelor's, they paid in full. Anything that you was already enrolled in, they paid in full. And she came running to me, she said, Miss Bullard, could you please pay for me at least to do the certificate in banking? I said, it's too late. Okay, so you don't know when the opportunity won't be there anymore. A lot of institutions have cut back and say we can't pay school fees because of the pandemic. Okay, so please take advantage of opportunities whilst they are there. Okay, even if you have to sign up and then defray until the next semester, sign up. Okay, take advantage of the opportunities. Okay, very good. I think I would have gotten everybody. Was there anybody who did not give their 5 cents? No?
Me. Nazma.
Oh, okay, Clinton. Yes, go ahead. I have your name at the top of the list.
I think 2 things I took away from this. Well, one, they're tying together, but one, I didn't know India was a powerhouse.
You didn't know?
India is considered a
Sorry, I didn't hear you.
India is considered a financial powerhouse.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm.
Yes, and secondly, the line that speaks to debt. I am opposed to credit cards. Not to say that I have never owned one, but I feel like they're of the devil. So the line that says, don't let good marketing skills entice you. I always tell persons, sometimes we see these sales, you have a credit card, and you say, oh, well, I can catch a sale. When you consider how much interest you're paying back, it's really not a sale. You can probably pay double for what you were getting. So the avoiding that sticks with me because I try to fight that daily. Anything to reduce and avoid debt, whether it's budgeting properly and I'm not someone who actually writes down a actual budget per month, write it out, but I keep it in my head. I do my calculations in my head and I know what is priority for what isn't considered priority at that particular time. Okay. And so that's basically it.
Okay, Clinton, and very good. I am with you with these credit cards. Revolving debt is of the devil, okay? Your great grandchildren will be paying off those credit cards, and I'm sure you heard me say that before. And I don't know if he was in the customer service class when, I always tell the story. I went to college in Georgia, and when I was going off the college, my father gave me his American Express. And he said, this is only for emergencies. But because he gave me that American Express, I could go in any store and get a credit card. And so I went into Victoria's Secret. I had Victoria's Secret card, JCPenney, Macy's, you name it. Every store that had a card, I had like 20-something cards. Okay? And all the limit was just $200 to like $1,000. But for somebody unemployed, who, how it is when you're in college, with all these cards, every time I got my rent money, I had to pinch $50 from the rent to pay this, to pay that, and it was driving me crazy until the 4 years had passed. I was graduating, I was coming home, and my father was like, oh, what you want for your graduation present? I'm gonna buy you a car and blah, blah, blah. And would you believe that my entire graduating money had to go to paying off those 20 cards? And I cried and I was so disappointed in myself. And I was like, I could have had a car, you know, but I was only 20 something. And so after that, that taught me you need one card to establish credit. Please don't let the card be more than $1,000. And the way to avoid fees is if you pay the card in full each month. And so
Yeah,
if you
just want
make
to
the
ask you if I get a comment on that, because I
yeah,
really wanted to get into that to let her know, like, if the card could be beneficial to her in regards to how she utilized the card. It's just really
if you are
managing the card.
disciplined, Robert, the key is
Yeah.
to be disciplined.
Yeah,
We ain't disciplined when we see a sale. Okay,
That's true.
sorry, not Miss Bullet. When Miss Bullet see a sale, I feel like feeling sorry for myself. I done work so hard, I could play hard. No, no, no. No. So you pay the credit card in full and you avoid the fees. But like I say, one card to establish credit, or right now when you travel, they want a credit card rather than your debit card to rent a car. That is it. If you can get a $500 limit, get a $500 limit. Trust me. And teach your children that, because that revolving debt is from hell. Okay, so good, guys, very, very good. I'm very pleased with the information shared. I'm very pleased that y'all found it beneficial and y'all have a takeaway. I really hope that you know, look at it again and try to apply some of the tips that, you know, he gave. And I'm really looking forward to when you produce your essays on Sydney with relationships, and Vernique with knowledge, and Lanique with high energy, good hygiene persons, and Krista with depth and the yoke of the master, Candice with knowledge and leadership, Robert with how much money you have, and Naisma with India and as depth. Okay, and we just want to look at the requirements again and the due date to make sure that all of us are on the same page. It is due to my email the day before you present. And then the presentation will be on Wednesday, October the 12th. You have to turn on your camera. Please look good. Miss Bullet like when you look good to get this job, right? So come fix on that day with your camera on, and it's 300 to 500 word essay discussing the requirements to become a future leader. And since all of us gave our 5 cents, we don't necessarily have to use these 10 topics. They were just, you know, from the last class, just to give you an example on what you could write on. Okay, so you take your, you know, copy and paste the piece that inspired you, and then you go online and you do some research. 2 to 3 minute word essay, and you share with the class, okay? And let's see how far away October the 12th is. Oh, some good weeks. Yeah, so 1, 2, 3, you have 4 whole weeks. 4 whole weeks before that is due. And then we see that the actual mentoring, you will have, you know, we want you to do it over a course of 6 weeks. So 4 weeks to do that, and then you will still have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. No, you said 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, you have enough weeks left. So when you come to make a presentation on October the 12th, we want you to share with us, this is who I have selected to mentor. So, and I am starting sometime in you know, October, I guess, to make sure that I have the 6 weeks. And so because it has to be in on the 29th, let's look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, so right after that paper on the week of, I guess, the 17th is when you will actually start mentoring, or you can start now, whatever works for you. But on October the 12th, please make a note that you will share with us. Another person selected their daughter, because their daughter had just turned 16, and she said she had read an article where women and their teenage daughters do not get along. And so she said, you know, her daughter was being very defiant, wasn't listening to her rules, talking back, and all sorts of stuff. And so she said, you know, she knew that was very close, but she decided that she wanted to break the stereotype of women and their teenage daughters not getting along. So she used this mentoring. You know, she approached her and said, hon, I have something to do for my class. Can you please help mommy with it? And she said that getting the feedback from her daughter, where her daughter said, you know, basically, mommy, it's like there's no open door policy with you. I'm afraid to approach you because you are intimidating and it's only your way and you don't ever listen to the things that are important to me. And so that helped her, like, right in her home. Okay, so it's whatever you choose. You know, the important thing is that both you and your mentee learn from that experience. Okay? Any questions or concerns?
No, ma'am.
No? Okay.
Hi. My question was,
Sorry, go ahead.
Sure, the 305 word essay, it's two things that I was thinking about. One is what we need to become a future leader. And the second part of it is what we discussed with the different topics. So we're going to match it together or have two separate?
Yeah, just mash it together. It's fine. You could do a paragraph on each, and it's fine.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Okay, guys, so I don't want to overwhelm you with so much information on the first day. I think we all got our feedback. We had very good participation. This will give you a chance to look back at what we discussed and prepare. If there's anybody who didn't get the email, please put your email in the chat and I will send you the email with all the attachments in it. And then I will take, yeah, so I sent it to your work email. You want me to forward it to this email, Crystal? Crystal?
Yes,
Yes,
personal
okay.
too. Thank you.
Yeah, I'll forward that. Okay, yeah, any questions, any feedback? We excited or we were asleep?
Excited.
I'm excited.
I have a question. Does the age matter for the mentor?
No, it does. It could be older because sometimes, like Sydney said, you have to mentor up. And so it could be everybody in your department that you supervise could be younger than you. So if there's an older person, that'll be a good experience because I think with the older people now, we need to start up the conversation that respect is a two-way street. And even though I'm younger than you, you have to respect the title of supervisor.
Hello?
Hi, yes, go ahead, Robert.
I was trying, could you guys hear me all the time?
No, we couldn't.
Okay, so I wanted to ask in regards to the essay. So I know you said that mine is on how I go about making money, but I also, because it was in and out about you talking about a mentor. So do we include a mentor in there as well? And in regards to the question, do I just have a broad research based on how I feel I should go about making money and so forth?
No, now it's two different things. Two different things. The first thing is due on October the 11th, and that was the speech that we read in class. The mentoring itself is due on November 29th, where you spend 6 weeks with a person and you write about your purpose, how you communicate, how you build trust, the process, the progress, and the feedback that the mentee gave you.
Okay.
Okay, so it's two separate things. This first thing is just where you are going to talk about how much money you have. You could talk about how to make money, You could talk about how to avoid that. And then you could talk about, again, like the paper said, how much money you have helps determine what you do, when you do it, how you do it, and who you do it for. It gives you the
Okay.
flexibility.
Yes, ma'am.
Right.
All righty. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Thank you.
Good. You're welcome.
All right.
Right. Any other questions? No? Okay. So let's look at the agenda for next week. We are going to, let me just take an account I was sending out. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I have 7, but I'm expecting, let's see who is missing. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm just taking a register. 2, 3. Yeah, a 7. Okay, but I was expecting 10. So I'm looking at how do we, are we comfortable? Like I said, my approach is because we are going to be supervisors. We want to be each person assigned a chapter. So because there are only 7, I wanted to make sure that we had sufficient. So let me go back and look at the agenda. I wanted to make sure that we had a sufficient chapters so everybody, you know, had a chance. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, it's so if the next 2 persons join, then there will still be 2 more chapters. Okay, so next week what I will do is I will do my overview of chapter 1 and 9. But going forward on chapters 3, 12, 8, 9, 10, 5, 6, 2, and 7, each person will be assigned a chapter. And so next week, I want you to pay attention to the key points that I discuss out of the chapter, because I'm going to either assign persons or ask one person. On this 28, we have chapters 3 and 12. So I'm going to ask 2 persons to stay back next class, and they will be assigned, one person will be assigned chapter 3, the next person will be assigned chapter 12. And what you would do is you will stay back after class. I will give you an overview of the highlights of the chapter, and you will read the chapter in detail. And like I said, the book is a very good book. And I promise you, if you make some time to read it, you will find it very beneficial. However, if you don't have the time, then please, as these chapters are assigned, please listen when they are read, and please come with your questions. Okay, so 2 persons will stay back next week. You will pay attention to how I present. I will give you an outline of what you should discuss in the chapter, and then you will facilitate that class. So on chapter 3, let's just say we select Robert, and Robert will discuss, he will read chapter 3 in detail, pick out the highlights and discuss it with us, and he will chair the discussion on chapter 3. And somebody else will do it for chapter 12, 8, 9, and so on. Okay, and we will practice. It'll be as if we are having a huddle, like how we have weekly huddles in the mornings, and we are the supervisor, so we have the chair the huddle, and so we will, you know, mimic that format. Okay, so are there any volunteers up front, or no, Miss Bullet have to come back with each chapter assigned next week?
I'll do one.
Krista, you want to volunteer?
Yes.
Okay, very good. Okay, so Krista, then you could start with chapter 3. Like I say, next week will just be a guide, and you will pick up some tips, and then you will stay back after and we will go over the highlights of chapter 3 and what you would need to discuss. We also need somebody else to do chapter 12. But if you need some more time to think, by the end of next week, you need to be prepared to stay back, or almost will have to assign somebody at the beginning of the class. So anybody else wants to volunteer, or Ms. Bully will select somebody next week?
I can do it too. It's chapter 12, right?
Yes, chapter 12, Lanique, and Krista will
So
do
the
chapter
books,
3.
the books and all. So we just go pick up the book.
Yeah, go pick up the book from Miss Dean, and then next week, when class is ending, like class is going to end now, you and Krista will stay back, and I will give you the outline of what needs to be highlighted to the class.
Okay, understood.
Okay, guys. So very good. And so, like I said, I'm excited. I think this is a very good group. I think we can all leverage on each other's knowledge, and we will share good information. Remember, it's a discussion-based class to ensure that you think critically, to ensure that you comprehend and can go into your institutions and apply what you learn effectively. Okay? So guys, be safe and protect yourself from the pandemic. Sorry?
I just realized something.
Yeah.
Next class is the 21st. Next class, I actually have a final exam for macroeconomics.
Okay.
So I wouldn't be present to that class. So I probably can do. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, but it wouldn't. What today is next? You mean you wouldn't be in the class?
I could do it if she can't do it.
Okay.
Yeah, I wouldn't, because I wouldn't be the class at all, because we have to go by the school to take the exam.
Okay. Okay. So yes. So we'll switch. Okay. Thank you, Lanique. So Lanique will do chapter 12, and then we'll assign you to another chapter. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Great. So guys, if there are no more questions or concerns or feedbacks, you'll have a productive week. And like I say, the key is a little bit of organization, get a little bit of help at home to manage whilst you're in school, and just be good and have a productive week. And so if there are no more questions or concerns, we'll end there. You can all have a good evening, and Ms. Bully will see you all next week.
Good evening. All right.
Okay, good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
All
right.
Well,
Good night.
Okay, Robert, you didn't send your email. You said you didn't receive the email?
No, ma'am, I didn't receive the email.
Okay, send it in the chat for me, and I'll shoot it to you right now.
Send my email? Okay.
Yeah, send your email address, yes.
Okay.
And Krista, you should have received 2 emails from me.
Okay, thank you. I'll check. Thank you.
Okay.
I just sent it.
Okay, so I'm going to forward them to you right now.
All right, thank you so much.
Okay, great. Have a good evening.
You too, all right.
Okay.